This is my video on what a derivative is and how to solve for it. So what is a derivative? A derivative is technically a rate of change or slope of a function at a single point. So you'll have lines like y equals 2x. You automatically know that m is equal to 2, so the slope is 2 over 1. But for other functions, like parabolas that are not straight lines, sometimes the rate of change is not necessarily simple to find like that. So, as we can see, derivative is technically equal to slope because it's the rate of change. Yeah. Derivative, slope. So, technically, since it's slope, the derivative of 2x is technically 2 because that's the slope. So, how do we calculate a derivative? Well, we're graciously given something called the difference quotient, which allows us to solve for this. Difference quotient. Yeah. So the difference quotient is written as the limit as h approaches 0 is equal to the function plus h minus the actual function all over h. So yeah, you just copy and paste that everywhere, and then you substitute the numbers. So, for example, you take an equation like, I don't know, let's go with like y is equal to 2x squared minus 4x plus 8. This isn't really a simple equation like y equals 2x where you know the derivative or the slope is 2 because it's a parabola. So to find the slope or derivative at a single point, use the difference quotient to solve for it. So you write as the limit of as h approaches 0 is equal to the function, which is this, plus h. So like you have f of x, you substitute x into the equation. Right now for f, the function of x plus h, you substitute h plus x plus h into the equation. So you put 2x plus h squared minus 4x plus h plus h. Now you have the second part, subtracting the actual function itself. So you actually just copy and paste the original function because that's what it's asking you. So 2x squared minus 4x plus 4x because you're subtracting. So the minus sign carries over. Minus 8 all over 8. H, not 8. Anyway, so then you solve for it. So yada yada yada. So that's 2 times x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. You just memorize that sometimes. Minus 4x minus 4h plus 8 minus 2x squared plus 4x minus 8. I'm just going to simplify this right now so it's easier. 2x squared plus 4xh plus 2h squared all over h. So yeah, that was another step in the process. And after that, you kind of have some common factors. So 2x squared is here. Oh, there happens to be subtracting it right here. So 1 minus 1 is 0, so 2x squared minus 2x squared is 0. So you cancel that out. You have 4x here and negative 4x, so they cancel out. Minus 8 plus 8. And then what you're left with is 2h squared plus 4xh, minus 4h, all over h. Now there's a common factor in the numerator which you can take out of everything, so that is 2h squared plus 2xh minus 2h over h. But you can go even further. So you go h, common factor of h, so h plus 2x minus 2. By that, by that, by that. So you're left with 2h plus 4x minus, no, I messed up. Yep, 2h plus, where did I mess up? Yeah, what am I doing? 4x squared minus 4 plus 2h. Then you take the limit of that as h approaches 0. So the limit as h approaches 0, so technically, since you can't really take the actual slope of a function like parabola, you have to take what the intended height is at that point. You can go as close as you want, but you're not going to get there. So the closest you can get is technically close to 0. So you substitute 0. So you're left with 4x. I messed up there. 4x minus 4, which is equal to the first derivative. So technically, you use this to solve. This is the equation for slope for this equation. But we can check this technically. Instead of just doing this every single time, we have the power rule, where in general you have like a x squared, well, c, and instead of taking the derivative by doing this, you do c times a times x to the c minus 1. Simpler shorthand. So we use this in terms of y equals 2x squared. So 2. Yeah, no, just carry this over. I don't want to write this. So you do 2 times 2x squared is 2 minus 1. And then since there's another x right there, negative 1 times 4x to the 1 minus 0. 1 minus 1, sorry. And since there's no x factor here, the degree is 0. So that's just 0. So what you get is 4x minus 1 minus 1, 0, x to the 0 is 0, 1.